Hello my crafty friends, it's Corrine here from Corrine Crafts. I hope you are all well. Oh my goodness me, it's October already and it's the first Monday of October, so it's time to launch my October colour challenge. And today these are the gorgeous colours that we are going to be using. Look at this, going from the blue, the teal, this sort of peach colour, and then the two different sort of shades of pink as well. This was just an example of how those colours could be used, but this is the main this is the main thing. And here is the project that I have made. I hope you like it. Since I finished the video, I've just added a little bit of sparkle in. I hope you like that. I like the way it shimmers and shines, just adds another texture and dimension to it. So yes, I've done masking, stenciling, stamping, colouring. I've used watercolour colours. Yeah, we're going to have a lovely time. I just want to show you, these are the watercolour pens I have used to create this, along with all of my inks. So it's my monthly colour challenge. If you watch the video, I'll tell you how you can go about joining in with my monthly colour challenge. I'd love to see your entries, so let's have a look at how it's made. I thought I'd start by showing you the colour palette for today's monthly colour challenge. Look at this. As soon as I saw it said spooky fun colour combo, I thought, with Halloween being this month, we had to use this combination. Isn't that absolutely fantastic? So we've got a lovely aqua blue, more of a teal, one that's somewhere between an orange and a peach, a really nice sort of plummy colour, and then a dusky pink. So I am going to, personally today, I'm going to be achieving these colours by using a few different mediums. And the mediums I'm going to be using are some watercolour pens, and I'm going to be using the aquamarine. I'm going to be using the gold. I'm going to be using magenta, and let me find the right one of these, don't need that one. I'm going to also be using tulip. So those are my colours. So which one am I looking for there? Magenta's there, so you can see that, with tulip. So those are going to give me those two colours, and then gold and aquamarine. Now this one I'm going to have to do by diluting down my aquamarine because I couldn't find anything any closer. But as well as using the watercolour pens, I'm going to be using some water reactive inks. So I'm going to get this one by using the plum jam. I thought I could create the peach by mixing orange and honey pot. So don't worry if you've not got the exact colours. The pink tulip, maybe with a little bit of plum jam in, gave me a good match for the pink. And then I've got baby blue and oasis to create those colours. So that's how I'm going to be doing it. I'm also going to be bringing in a piece of this gorgeous sort of plummy colour as well, so I'm going to be using that. So you'll see there's lots of different ways to achieve the colour. So if you've never seen my colour challenge before, what I do is on the first Monday of the month I pick a colour palette, and there you go, that's my colour palette for October, and I make a project with it. Once I've made my project with it, I will put it obviously up on YouTube, and I will also put it onto Facebook. And then for the rest of the month I invite you, my lovely viewers and subscribers, to have a go at making a project out of any medium whatsoever, so long as it roughly follows that colour palette. Then please put a picture of it on my Facebook post where the post is. There'll be a big post to show it, and then you will be able to stand a chance of winning just the card and maybe a little gift at the end of the month. So I think we should get straight into it. So I'm going to put that out of the way. We'll come back to that in later on. So first of all, I've got a piece of white watercolour card. Now this card is 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, and the reason for that, and you've heard me say it before, is I can get 2 of them out of a sheet of A4, so I often go for it. Then out of a scrap of craft card, and gosh, I think you've seen me use this piece of craft card for the last few days, I have just cut a nesting circle. Now that doesn't have to be in the centre, so I've now got a mask and a stencil. I'm all about making them yourselves. So I'm going to put the mask, I'm going to try and centre it up as accurately as I can because we're going to be doing our project. And then I'm going to draw a very faint pencil line around. Now you can rub this out at the end, or we're just going to work over the top of it so you won't see it. So that is there. What that means is now when I put my stencil over the top, I know where to put it, because otherwise I wouldn't know where centre is, because I could have thought that was centre because I can't see it. That's the one thing about making your stencils yourself, because you can't see through them like normal polymer stencils. This is where I definitely need a stamping platform, because we're going to do some stamping and masking. So pop that in, doesn't matter which way you pick up. Now I'm using my Julie Hickey Hand Picked Florals. You've seen these lots of times. Look at these, they do look, they are so well loved. I'm going to use this one first, and I'm going to pop this on just on here, roughly on that circle. It doesn't have to be anywhere, but I just need to know I've got that circle roughly. I'm going to pick it up. Now we're going to be using a lot of water in this project, so I really need to use my waterproof ink pad, and that's what we're going to do here. So I'm going to stamp that first and then we can stamp that onto here. That's going on like that. Now you see it's a little bit faint. I wonder whether I'm ready to re-ink my ink pad, which I regularly do, but also remember it's watercolour card. So watercolour card is meant to absorb excess water, so it does sort of suck a bit of the ink out of your stamping, I find. So you do often have to go a couple of times. So let's see. Oh, now that's perfect. You see, it just needed that second stamp. So what I've also done is I've created a whole load of masks for these stamps. So they're here. I've been using them a fair few times, so you can see this one is well loved. So that is the mask for that stamp. So all I've done is I've taken some masket tape. You can get it from Sticks 2, you can get it from Crafter's Companion, you can get it from all sorts of places. I've stamped my image on, and I'll show you this is what it looks like when it's stamped on, and then I've just cut it out. Now because it's a mask, I've cut it out on the line. I've not given myself a border. I want it as close to the line as possible, and then all I do is I pop that over the top, and what that's going to do is it's going to protect the, let's call it the integrity of the image below. So I'm going to grab myself a second stamp. What you have to do is decide which flower you want to be at the front. I want that big flower to be at the front. If I wanted this one to be at the front, I'd stamp that first and then protect that. It's entirely up to you. So you can pick that up. Don't worry about this. It looks a bit strange because I've used these masks before. Stamp this. I'll probably have to stamp it twice. Now, even though that's really wafer thin, you will often find that it still can act as a bit of a lip, so I can see. But don't worry, we can get around that. I'm going to do a second layer. And then we're going to pop that over here. There we go. Almost. Oh, that might have jumped a little bit, but we'll get away with it. Okay, so what I need to do now is I need to put my mask on. Now, this one is always a difficult one to work out which way round this goes. Oh, that's a shame. That really has jumped a little bit, but don't worry. We'll make it work. It'll just look like a bit different flower, so we can protect most of it like that. Then I'm going to come in with the foliage. I'm going to decide where I want that, so I want that to sort of come round here a bit as well. So as you can see, everything is being protected as we go. So let's stamp on here. I do love Julie's stamps. I'm in the process of trying to look for some more, but having had visitors and then Colin and I being poorly, it's just not happened. So I really need to get on and get some more ordered. Now you can see again we've protected that image, so these will come out, and then I want another one just here, just like this. Now I don't want that stalk coming there, so what I would do is I'd pick that up and just get I'm going to just get a little bit of this post-it, this stamp it. I'm just going to take a little bit of this, and I'm just going to, can you see, I'm just going to put that over the top, just there, so that I don't get any ink on that bit of the stamp. So you can see it would have got ink on the stamp from where I did it, so I lift that off, pick that up, and then when we put that on here, you'll see, what I didn't want was I didn't want that stalk to show here. So you can see it's only stamped just there. Let's just, if you need to put some more ink on, that's absolutely fine. Just put your little mask on there, ink it up. Now the thing you have to remember is to lift that off, and the number of times I've forgotten to do that. There we go. There we are. Perfect. Okay, so what I'm also going to do is I'm going to just take that off there. Now, these are very tatty. I'm going to just protect this stamped image. I should have the other little bit of that one. You can see I've been using these a few times. This one's a nice new one. So I'm just going to pop that onto there. Okay. So I've now got my flower stamp. We're not going to look at them just yet. We're just going to leave it for a minute and we can see that on there. Now I'm going to go back to what I was going to do. I'm going to get that stencil and I'm going to place it just over there. So I can now bring back my inks, Honey Pot and Orange. Now remember, these are nicely protected because we've got the masks on them. So pick up a bit of the yellow. And then I'm going to come round. I'm going to come right round over there. And then all the way around. Now, the yellow is the palest. So I'm just going to just go round there like that. Go round to the centre. It's coming out a little bit stronger now. Oops. Lifting that up. There we go. And then what I would do is I'd pick up a little bit of the orange and just come round the edge with that. So I've got those shades of colour. There we go. You can always do a little bit round here as well. Just want to make sure I get back to yellow and then blend that out. There we go. So when I lift that off, look at that. So we've got the darker orange around the outside and the paler yellow in the middle. But if I bring this back, it's not a perfect match, but it's a good impression of that colour. So the next thing I want to do, I want to do some stenciling. So I found myself a couple of stencils. Which ones have I got? I've got some dots. I've got a little bit of filigree. This is one of my favourite stencils, this water drop. I just found it in the bin. It's a good job I had another look down before hubby did the bins, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that over here. I'm just going to get myself a mat underneath to protect my work surface, just that little bit. And then we're going to pop that down here. Let's turn it back the right way up so I know which way is up. And I'm going to bring in my other ink pads. And we're just going to do a little bit of fun stenciling. So hold that over there. Then you just pick whichever stencils you want. So let's start with some dots, shall we? I'm holding that over there. So let's go blue. So I need my blue dauber. So let's start with the pale blue. That's my baby blue. Because I've not really represented that much in this project. I'm not going to go right to the edges. I'm just going to do it a bit. And then I'm coming down here. So I'm going over where, that flower is. I've just moved it. But that's fine because it's protected. So it's going to give me the dots all around that flower. And it'll look absolutely lovely. There we go. Make sure that's... Now you can go as light or as dark as you want. I'm going right up to that mask. There we go. So let's have a look. Oh yeah, look at that. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? Really pretty. So let's pick this one. Now that's going to go... If you've seen me use this before, you'll know I always try and get the edge off the edge because I don't want the straight lines. So let's go with... I'm going to go with the paler pink, which is that one for a minute. And we're going to come off here and we're just going to go around here. Like I said, I'm not going right to the edge. And you'll see why in a minute on there. And I'm just going to try and remember which way I kept this stencil because I want to use it again in a minute. Let's do that. There we go. Now if I lift this up, you can see we've protected it. One thing I did when I was doing it was I then popped this back on. Oh, that lined up nicely. Just there. I put my stencil on. Oh, yeah, put my stencil on there. And then I went in with my blue. Now, because I've lined up the stencil, it should almost just flow pink into blue, which I thought looked quite nice. Oh, I need to just gum up a little bit. That was a bit over So that's with my stencil just there. Just put it in on this one. There we go. Look, so can you see it just flows beautifully. So let's find out where this went. It's just about remembering which way round you put your stencil. And I know I had it this way. So just finding where it lines up. Takes me a minute. Come on, Corrine. I think I've just seen it. There it is. I knew I'd just seen it. There we go. Line that back up. Put my stencil over. I'm just going to kick it back a little bit and then pick up the blue and just do a little bit of the blue so that it runs one into the other. There we go. And then you've got that. So I thought that looked lovely. And then the other thing I might do is find that one that I really like, my watermarks, my like droplets. Let's put that. Now, if you want it to go one over the other, you can have it on the foreground and the background if you wanted to. That's entirely up to you. Let's go with a little bit of the darker orange. And let's just do a little bit of that. And make sure that looks nice. Oops, where you go over one stencil and then the other. Oh, that looks good, doesn't it? I like that, where it's bringing that down and blending the two in together. Right, so I've got a few more little bits I want to do. Let's think, what do I need to do on this? I want a bit of stamping. So I've got a couple of stamps. I've got this font one, and I'm going to do this font one do I want it to, no, I just want it to come across on here. So I need my rocker block, and I'm still going to stick with my waterproofing. Let's just put some of these lids on a minute, because otherwise I'm going to get into a bit of a muddle. Let's move those out of the way. Waterproof ink. Now I only need the ink on part of it, and if you don't want a full stamp, let me see I've got that lined up. There we go. You can always dab a bit off and then put a bit on there, so you can just see the text comes on here, and then we can do the same on this side. Right, now I don't want that straight line, so I'm just going to ink to the side. Let me make sure, I always need to make sure my card's nice and straight, otherwise my text won't be. Let's put that on there, just like that. Give it a little bit of a tap, and then we can just go over here, just like that. There we go. Oh, I like that because it's nice and soft at the edge. Right, and the other one I wanted to do, now I did something on my test one. I found, this was from one of my signature collections years ago, and I found this sort of crackle glaze one, and all I did, I'm going to do it again. I put it on my rocker block. My rocker block should have got a bigger rocker block, but it's fine. And then I'm just going to get my plum jam, and I'm just going to do a little bit in the middle. I'm not going to do lots. I'm going to come back in with my mask, or stencil, whichever way you want to call it. And I'm just going to pop a few little bits of this burgundy in the middle. Do a little bit more, just to add a little bit more interest. So I just put in like an ink pad's worth of ink on. So you can see we've just got that lovely little bit. And then the final bit I want to do, still using those same ones, is I'm going to use some ink splats. Let's just, but I don't want to use any that are too big. Let's use those three. So again, we're going to stay with the waterproof ink pad, and we're just going to pop these all the way around. Now, at the moment, it looks a bit strange having those like that, but you will see it will work. Oh, let's just change that one to a different one. It will work in a minute because I've got another step to do. So let's come on here. I had a tiny one. Where did I find the tiny one from? Was that it? Let's find this one, this tiny one. Oh yeah, I like that one. And then we could do a tiny one down there. Right, so it's just adding a little bit of interest and a little bit more sort of dimension. So put those on there, getting mucky fingers. Okay, Am I there? Do I need to do? Yes, I do want to do some more bits. Right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to draw a frame, and this is where your pencil line will just disappear. So all I'm going to do is, I can see my frame here, and I'm going to just do a wiggly circle all the way around, all the way around here. Now I can see my circle comes there. I might have to do a bit. Then I'm going to do a second wiggly circle so that they cross over and they go approximately in the same place. And then I'm going to do a third one. I love that. That looks lovely. If you want to, you can be doing little marks where bits capture. It's entirely up to you. Do little graffiti bits. It's up to you. Now, the only other thing I thought about doing, I'm going to do it on this one because I haven't done it on my other one, is I'm going to draw a border around the outside. Now, sometimes when I do a border like this, I do sort of mask it off, but I haven't today. Let's see how this turns out. We can see which one we prefer when we've finished. So I've done one. Because I've done multiples on there, I need to really do multiples on here. Let's just do. And the great thing about this is you don't have to be straight. It looks better for not being straight. And again, if you want to do a little bit of wiggly lines on these, they work really well too. There we go. Lovely. So now let's move all of these inks. I think we've finished inking for now. Let's have a go. Let's move these out of the way, but I will need them back. I will need them back, but we're going to just do only because when you do paint splatting, the paints I'm going to use take ages to dry, and I will. Oops, I've just ripped that one. Never mind. It'll take a while to dry. So there we go. Now look at that. Doesn't that look lovely? You can see how the flowers, we've kept that one at the front, that one's behind, and then the foliage is coming out behind, and they're perfect. There's no they're not compromised in any way. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring in my paints. Now remember, I said I was going to use the watercolour paint. We're going to do it this way. So I've got my paint there. So the palest blue we're going to do from the other one. So I'm going to just take my gold first, and I can put a little bit on here. Best palette ever is your craft mat. Oops, dropping that, getting caught up. So I'm going to take that, and then I'm just going to come out here. Now, if you are new to colouring, painting, whatever you want to call it, watercolour is brilliant. It's a fantastic way to start. So I had a piece of kitchen towel here. Where's it gone? So I've got a pot of water here. I'll bring it into sight so you can see. And I've got some colour on there, and I just wet my brush and do that. So I'm just going to do the bits I want to do in yellow. So this is that giving me that peachy colour. If you need to want to make it a bit more peachy, you could put a little bit of it, mix some of your colours up. So we're just going to put that like that. Actually, I need this to come out a bit further. Let's come out here. Now, one thing I did find is you can paint with them like this, but then you can actually colour with the pens, and we're going to be doing a bit of that at the end. Right, so that's my yellow. Next, I want to come in with the aqua. So it's aquamarine. So let's lay down quite a lot of that because I'm going to be doing quite a lot. There we go. Pick up that. Right. Pop that down here. And we can do lots of painting like there. There we go. So now I've got my blue on here. I'm just going to paint on to here on like this. So I'm going to paint first the darker bits. And then I'm going to get some water, and I'm just going to drag it down to make it a little bit paler. We're going to actually make this a bit darker in a minute. So we can come on here and then drag it down on here. I'm going right up to the edges. The great thing is watercolour is so forgiving. It is so forgiving. There we go. Right, I'm just going to leave that to dry for a minute. While that's dry, I'm just going to take the blue on my brush because I've got a nice point, and I'm just going to do a couple of little spotty bits. Oh, that's a bit too wet. Dry my brush off a bit. I just want a couple of little spots. It's not finished, but you'll see in a minute where we're going. So just put some little blue spots on here. I don't know what effect I want. I just had a practice and I liked how it looked. Okay, so now that's sort of dried off a bit, what I'm going to do is, that's just too wishy-washy. It's nowhere near as strong enough. If you look at the colours, it's not strong enough for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to paint into here. I'm just going to do a couple at a time. Now it will go on a bit different because your cardstock's wet, but if you want to leave it to dry, you can. So then pick up my paintbrush and I'm just going to blend that out. So you can see straight away we've got those different shades. There we go. Try not to, I'm just going to dab it on because that was sort of ruffling up the paper. If you need to go around the edges, it's great. You can, you can get a little bit more intensity of colour, and I can colour in those borders using the pens as well. Looks lovely. Go around there. There we go. So let's just do those two. Pick up that water and then blend those out. So you can see we've now got the two shades of the blue that I was after by doing it this way. So I've got the paler one and then the darker one. You might want to get your heat gun on it and give it a little bit of a blast because it doesn't like laying down the colour too much when the cardstock's very wet. So we can just bring that down. One thing I often find with watercolouring in is you leave it and then when you come back to it, it looks really lovely. It can look quite different. The other thing I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to do a few flicks with my gold watercolour pen. Aqua pen, just to add in a bit more intensity. Right, so there's my blue bits done. Oh, that was the other bit I was going to do, is as though they've done those other blues, I'm going to actually just do a few little dabs with this. I love the sort of what do you say, artistic way it looks. Abstract I think is the word I was looking for. Actually I could do with a little bit more in there. A bit too pale. And the other one I want to do just while I finish is I'm just going to colour in that border with the blue. Now if you've got single colour of these ones from Crafter's Companion, they'll have a really fine nib that will be good for doing this bit when they're dual ended. It's just that when they're the tri aquas, they don't have the fine nib, but this way it does. Look at that. Isn't that looking lovely? We need to do the pink next. So let's find my magenta. Is that my magenta? No. Yes, it is. That's my magenta. Let's come in. Oh, I've just gone over the blue. Come on, Corrine, think it through. I made purple. I've got my magenta there, and I've got my tulip here. What I was meaning is, on these single colour ones, you get a lovely fine nib on that end, which is great for doing detail. So let's pick that up. Let's make sure my brush... Oh, I've got too much blue on my brush still. Let's pick up that pale pink, and I'm just going to go over this with the pale pink. Just more in the centre. And then I'm going to get the magenta. And I'm going to come around the top with that magenta that gives me that sort of plum, and down the edges. And then like that. I like that. I like that. I like that contrast. And you see, even though I jumped my stamp there, you'd never know, would you? It just looks like extra detail. I think I got away. A lot of stamps I wouldn't have got away with, but with that particular stamp, I think I got away with that. There we go. Oh, I'm so pleased with that so far. And then, am I happy? Do I need a little bit more here? I don't want it to be too wishy-washy, you see, that's the problem. I want quite a bit of intensity of colour. I sort of did one last night before and left it overnight, and when I came back today it just looked too pale, so I had to sort of add a bit more colour to it. There we go. Just adding in that intense. There we go. I'm loving that. So if we bring those colours back in, if you bring that in, can you see how we are still going with that colour palette? I think we are anyway. I think it looks lovely. Okay, so the next bit I want to do, and this is where you have to leave it sort of overnight, is I'm going to bring this in and I need to just make sure those are dry. And then these poor masks, they are looking so tired and used now, but if I can just get it on this one, I'll be okay. So I've protected majority of it. If a little bit gets on, it's not the end of the world. And I have just got a little bit of acrylic paint that I have diluted down. And actually, this is the one that I left from last night. So it's a little bit, got a skin on it. And then all I'm going to do, oh, it needs some more water. Let's do that. No, it's not doing. There we go. Ooh, it's coming backwards. Oh, it's coming onto me. Don't want that. Let's see if I can do it that way. I really should wear a pinny. Do you know, I always used to wear an apron when I crafted, and I don't now, and it's silly not to. So we've done some white splats like that, and then I like this one for doing splats, if I can find it. Where is it? It is from Sticks 2. It is their fabric spray paint. Now you can do, I don't spray it because I get too much, but what I tend to do is you can get this, try and get as much off the end as you can. And then I'm going to do it with my, on here. And then, can you see, ooh, look, you can get some quite big splats. My poor pokey tool. There. Right, I'm going to leave it at that. I need to just give my pokey tool a wipe now. Ew. Right, and that is what we need to do now. It looks a bit dreadful at the moment, doesn't it? Because it's still got all the masks on. The pokey tools are getting clean now. So let's get these off. I think these masks have served a purpose. Don't think they're going to live another day, do you? I wondered what had happened then. It was still a mask on it. There we go. And then you just want to leave that to dry. Doesn't that look beautiful? And if I bring my colours in, you can see we are perfect colour match. If I bring this one in, you can see, can you see how we've stuck to those colours beautifully? Right, put that one to one side. And I have got one, as you always know, that I made yesterday. There we go. So you can see, I think it's exactly the same, isn't it? Looks to be. Just maybe, you know, slightly different. And all I've done is I've matted it onto some black card. I do think black. Oh, this one hasn't got the border around. I do like that border. I'm going to quickly put a border around this one. Even though it's got foam tape on the back, I can still do it if I'm careful. So let's do that second border, because I did like that. Everything's dry on here, so I'm good to go. It's been drying overnight, so it's properly dry. All the way around. If you either need to do them really straight or really wiggly. It's entirely up to you. If you want to do them straight, get a ruler out and do them straight. But I think that's quite hard to do, so I tend to do wiggly. There we go. And then, as we did before, I haven't done any like that. I'm going to do a couple of little sort of stitchy bits on here and on here. And then on there. There we go. Oh, I'll do it like that. That's lovely. Now, the other thing I did, and I actually did two, because I did that one, and then I thought the stamp was too detailed. I wasn't seeing the colours. So I've just done it again on a smaller stamp. It was just a stamp that I've hand cut out. And I'm going to pop that on here. So we've got a little bit of dimension. I've got a card base. So this was a 8-inch card base, and I've added on that beautiful plum colour, because I think that is a really, look at that, really represents that very well. And I'm going to pop that. No, I'm not going to put that on there. I didn't want to mask it off. Now, The black and the burgundy work really well, but for me they work even better if I put the white in between. I didn't want to put the white on because I wanted to show you the burgundy, because I just think it's a good burgundy, plum, whatever you want to call it. I just think it's a lovely colour. So we can put that onto there. 10th fold card, as always. You know, that's my choice, but this would look lovely as a side fold card. This would actually look lovely on a panel on a shaped card. It's entirely up to you. So then I'm going to get the back of my Sticks to foam roll, that giant roll. You know I love my giant roll of Sticks to foam tape, and they do fantastic sheets of masking sheets as well, if you want to do those. So yeah, make sure you use those as well. If I can find a link, I will to those. And then let me make sure I've got my 10th card the right way up. That will then just pop on there like that. Always a little bit of wet glue, and then if anything goes awry, you know you've got a bit of wriggle room. Let's put some of this tacky glue on here. And at first it wouldn't look right. As soon as I twisted that and put it going that way, it seemed to work. It really, really did. So the last bits I've got, oh, I've not done the lid up on my fabric paint, is I've got 3 sentiments. And I should have here, yep, I have. I've got a bit of 3D glue. So I'm going to, I think Cheers should be in the centre. Just for you could go there. No, I think Hip Hip Hooray needs to go there. It needs a bit more space. And then Just for You can come here. Oh, yes, I like that. Right. If you don't have anything like these pre-printed ones, then you can just use your stamps and stamp something out. But I do like them on the black background. It really, really works. So we can put that one on. And that one on. And finally, I use 3D glue because then it just means that everything levels itself out. It just gives me room to do that. So nearly finished. Let's find a couple of gems. Let's put, I know I've done some black splats, but let's just do a couple of gems just to give a little bit of dimension. One thing I was going to say is if you feel it's a little bit flat, you can go over any of your elements with your sparkle pens, because, oops, I picked up the wrong tweezers, haven't I? Because you've used a waterproof ink and sparkle pens are water-based, you'll be able to add a little bit of sparkle to any of your elements. Dear me, my hands are filthy now. But I love doing this. Absolutely. This just makes me happy. It's a style I never used to do, but now I do, and I love it. So let's put that on there. If you wanted to, you could have done a second flower on there to add that, to really make it a focal point. I think that would look lovely, is to recreate that one again and put it on top so that it's a 3D flower. But how about that? I think that's lovely. I love the frame. I love the circle. I think that works really, really well. I hope you like that. As I said, this is my representation, if I bring in the colours, as you can see, of the colour palette for this month. I think it's a really good representation of that colour palette. I really like it. Yeah, a few of the little bits I might put a few little gems and things on there. That might actually work. I'll put a picture on at the start and at the end, so that you can see if I do any changes. But I hope you like that. Please, please look at these colours, see if you can represent them yourselves. If you want to, you can use fabrics, you can use paints, you can use pens, alcohol pens, watercolour pens, pencils, even fabrics. I've had some people do fabric entries as well. I love them all. But I'll put this up. The link is on my Facebook page for you to put your entries on. I hope you have a go. Lovely colour palette. Make it Halloween if you want. It's entirely up to you. But until next time, my friends, happy crafting, and I hope you can join in. And don't forget to click on any of the links or subscribe to my channel. So for now, take care. Have a lovely time crafting, and I'll speak to you very soon. Bye for now.